Yeah. So you're laying the foundations with the original material.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's like an incredible way to look at it, especially like you said, when people get so caught up in the new Phil, like you said, social media can be a blessing or a curse. It's
Right.
either the things that get the most instant gratification and likes are as like the most you can fit into. Like if you just play groove for a minute, it won't get half the amount of views as if you can shed for a minute. You know?
Yeah, but the same token, it's like it depends on what you're playing. Cause like the little kid Aaron the bassist, he's going nuts. You know what I mean? It's like this, I mean, he sounds like a grown man at 10 years old.
Yeah.
And it's like, and he has some facility, but the stuff that he's posting is like the stink face groove stuff, just like the ghost notes or whatever. I feel like that is just as relevant as all other stuff because that's what's going to set you apart. In my opinion, if like everybody's playing like this and you're playing like that,
Yeah.
trust me, I mean, because people want to do this. You can't do that to. I mean, the people that are liking that is going to be other musicians.
Yeah.
But the average listener is going to break their neck to like for instance, if you playing some like that's why most I don't know about over there, but like if you go to like just say a concert here and they're like, thank you, good night. And then they play exit music, it's gonna be like some old James Brown, Mr. Stubberfield, you know what I mean? And the funky now. And it's still funky 50 years later. You know what I mean? So it's like that's the stuff that's never going to change. So if you learn how to play grooves and make grooves feel good, that's going to be relevant. I don't care what new fad is coming up. Like everybody's going nuts, or like the new Dilla sound, and everybody's playing unquantized, all that kind of stuff. That's going to have its place too. But pocket, if you learn how to have a good feel, you will work forever. I promise you. Trust me. It's like it's been. I mean, James Brown said it best: keep it on the one. It's worked for me, because I'll be the first one to tell you. A lot of bass players, I don't have the facility that they have. I mean, I know cats that are like that. I'm like, woo, like, let me let shit. No, you know what I mean? But it's like, but a lot of those people that have that much information, they have it sitting at home.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just think from everything that you've said, it's just like, it seems, and from all the conversations I've had, it seems that just like the more musical integrity you have, the longer your career will be.
Absolutely. Yep. You said it best, man. You have integrity. Integrity. Matter of fact, I had to put a band together from the UK one time. I did a gig with an artist. I'm not going to say their names, but incredible musicians in the UK. By the way, we've lucked up and had some really good, musicians. Like when I come over with artists where it's just me and I got to use a band, rehearse with them a couple of days, whatever. But there's this one guy in particular, amazing on keys, amazing. But the dude would not just play the record, like he was stretching the whole show. And the artist is like, yeah, no, like we tried to address it a couple of times, but it's like, he's just like, what do you mean? And so like, yo, you got to remember, like, it's not about you, and you can be great at the record because people are going to leave the show like, wow, they sounded just like the record.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's more of a compliment than somebody coming up to me like, yo, man, you were killing. Like I'd rather somebody come like, yo, man, the band is amazing. So that means we're playing together as a unit, as opposed to me just going for blood an entire show, because it's like I'm getting my rocks off, but it's like the music suffers.
Yeah. So you think musical integrity comes from just serving the person whose music it is, right?
Yeah, and then I think you are what you eat as well. Like I said, for me, the stuff that I always gravitated towards, like I'm a quartet guy, which is like church stuff, and like literally a quartet bass line, you might have to play. You get to a vamp of a song, that song might go for 6 minutes, and you playing the same thing over and over again without changing anything. And it's like, don't get bored. But what it is, I always use this analogy. I don't know if you guys have grits over there. Grits is like It's like a hot cereal almost, kind of like cream of wheat type of thing. It's like you boil your water and like then you add the grits, but don't put anything in it. But the more you stir it, it keeps getting thicker without adding anything. Just keep stirring the same grits in the same pot with the same water. And there's something about the grit that swells up. To me, that's what a groove does. Like you play the same thing over and over again. It's like, and then when you first started, you might be like, 4 minutes in, everybody like, oh, but we haven't changed anything. It's just like, it just gets contagious after a while. Just like everybody like stank face, like, yo, they killing, you know? So that's the way, that's always been my approach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely love that analogy.
Yeah, so
that's literally the perfect analogy, I think, for and it's like you said, you don't have to change anything to make it that, like, to make the groove good, right? You can play the groove, but you can still make it good. It could be 4 on the floor, you know, and 2 different players could play it. I watched something a few weeks ago at the Musicians Institute. They did like an online thing or something, and Steve Jordan was there, and he was doing he did like a come up, someone play, and I'll kind of like, I won't alter the groove whatsoever, but I'll do things that will make the groove feel better. And so he had this guy up, and this guy just played a groove, and then he was like, you know, that was great, now like let me show you, I'll play the exact same groove, and it just sounded like completely, like, just so much better, but it was the same groove. And he literally, all he changed was the heaviness of the hi-hat. That's all he changed.
wow,
You know, it's like crazy, like what one little thing can do to the whole picture. So you don't have to change the way the groove is played, or, you know, or adding more notes. You know, if anything, I think from what I've learned from speaking to people like yourself is like, if anything, the more you take away, the better it's going to sound.
absolutely. You know, what's funny is, so earlier in my career, I did a thing with John B and Babyface. We did the song because they did a duet on Yap Young Records, a song called "Someone to Love." So we did Jay Leno. So I got a chance to rehearse with Babyface for a whole week for one song. So one day I just asked him, I just picked his brain. I was like, "Yo, man," because remember, you're talking about early 2000s, maybe. Every song that he did was a hit. You know what I mean? And I was just like, "Yo, like what's your formula when you're writing?" You know, and he told me, he said, "Well, I figure like if an 80-year-old with Alzheimer's or a 3-year-old who's just learning to talk can hear the song for the first time and remember the melody, it's a hit." And then, like, when somebody gives me tracks, I started muting stuff, you know, rather than adding, you know, I start taking away. And so I'm like, okay, he's like, yeah, because now it's like, 'cause people will send you stuff that sounds amazing, but once you start muting a couple tracks, now the whole thing is breathing. And I'm like, wow. So, and that's why even having those conversations, I put everything back on me. Like, okay, how can I apply that to my plan? You know, so there's a beauty in space. It's almost like, imagine if you have a 5-bedroom house, right? But then, you know, your finances changes. So, okay, well, I got to downsize. So now you go to a 2-bedroom apartment, but bring all of your furniture. It's just gonna be cluttered. You know what I mean? It's like, get rid of some of that stuff. You know, that's how I feel like your plan has to be. So like, um, I remember doing this one tour that like the stuff that I liked, even matter of fact, even Justin, the simple stuff is the stuff I had fun playing. Like, so he had a song called Murder. Like literally I'm just like sustaining boom, 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 dum dum, back it to bam, back it to dum, back it to dum, back it to bam, 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 boom, boom, boom. Man, that was my best song of that show. I'm like, man, this song feels so good, man. Or even like um what's the song? Push Your Love. Doom, boom, boom, doom, boom, 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 boom. Simple, man, but like I love the space. I love the space in those songs. So to me, that's what I always, you know, gravitate. That's the stuff that feels better to me. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I love everything that you've just said, especially that, like another house, like another analogy with a house is like all the stuff that you have in that 5-bedroom house could, the stuff itself could be great. You know, it could be really nice stuff, but then you put it in a smaller house and it's still great stuff, but it doesn't work, you know?
Yep, and everybody's walking through your house like, you know, and that's how musicians sound. It's like, it's almost like, you know, there's certain bands that you hear, it's just like, it sounds like the, you know, it's like, y'all sound like y'all fighting, man. It's like, like you get up, it's almost like, you know, some people like, I did this, nobody knew where the one was but me. I'm like, okay, but everybody lost.
Yeah.
Because you did a feel that you lost everybody, but you knew where the one was, and everybody, like, come on, man, it's not making sense. Okay, you won. Your meat is better than everybody's. Now what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we're a band, man. One band, one sound. So you know.
Yeah. And another thing that Steve Jordan said in this thing, or I think it was him or someone else, I can't remember, but they said, you know, from a drumming perspective and from a rhythm perspective, if you aren't getting the people to like dance or move or feel something, you're not doing your job right. So you have to find, you know, he'd say when he would do like, you know, live gigs and stuff and no one will be moving, he'd be like, what, you know, what is it that it is? We have that control, you know?
Yeah.
And I think like, you know, drummers and bassists kind of underestimate the control they have over that. Because, you know, guitar and keys, you know, and vocals, they're kind of the top melody lines. They can kind of go and do what they want, you know, but the bass and drums kind of stay where they are, right? And they're the ones that make people move, you know?
Because like with bass and drums, like everybody, like for instance, just take Justin's song, Rock Your Body. It's like, so like there's a part of the song where everything drops out except bass and drums, right?
Yeah.
But if you take the same song, let everything else play and the bass and drums drop out, that's weird.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, we're the glue. So yeah, I think that if people just realize that, like, okay, we can't build this house on sinking sand. So it's like so the foundation, bass and drum. Now I'm not discouraging anybody from you know, getting facility and shedding and, you know, just getting your vocabulary, getting more information. I'm not trying to discourage that, but I'm saying like make sure that you have the foundation first. And it's cool to be able to go different places, but it's also cooler to have the restraint to not do it. Like I tell people like, yo, go do your record. Like do a solo record, get all that out of your system, let the world know that you are an amazing, whatever it is that you're trying to do. But if you're trying to be, you know, on a big stage playing with like a big artist, you got to learn how to respect the music. You know, like there's a Christian-based book by Rick Warren. It's called A Purpose-Driven Life. You know, I tell everybody about this book, and like literally the first line in the book says, "It's not about you." You can close it at that point. To me, you know, if you can get that concept, like, you know, it's not about me. You know, it's about the bigger picture, whatever. It's like, I mean, you're gonna be amazing. And I figure like, you know, and that goes even in your other relationships. You know, it's like, yo, it's not about me. And it's like, if I can make everybody around me better, it's like life is gonna be amazing. And that's what I want to leave, like with, you know, when I leave this earth or whatever, I want to know that I left the earth better than it was when I got here. You know, like, people can be like, yo, I met that dude, he was amazing. You know what I mean? That's more important than my I can't even talk musicianship. You know, that's more important to me, you know, like to people to know that I'm a great person over a great musician. Now, if you think I'm a great musician, that's cool too, but you know, I'm trying to be a good dude. You know, that's the important thing.
Well, I can definitely confirm you are a great guy.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Likewise, man.